Jesus goes on, and leading up to our passage, he gives two parables. The first of which is the servant who was left in charge of the house. The master goes away and leaves the servant in charge to take care of the house. Now, the servant doesn't know when the master is coming back, so he always has to keep the house clean. Because if he slacks off for a couple days and the master comes back and finds the house dirty, there's going to be problems. So the servant always has to be working and watching and waiting for his master to return. There's also the parable of the 10 virgins. There are these 10 virgins who are waiting for the bridegroom to come and take them away. 5 of these virgins decide that they're not going to take oil for their lamps that they've been given because they don't need it and they'll take care of that later. And 5 of them do take oil. And when the bridegroom eventually comes, the 5 who do not have oil in their lamps miss out on the bridegroom's coming, while the other 5 enjoy the presence of the bridegroom and leave with him. Now, these parables stress the idea of faithfulness in the meantime while the master is away. We need to have both of these things in balance. And I think this third parable that Jesus tells in this section is really going to help us iron this section out and help us to live fuller lives and to fight against emptiness. Because being filled with joy is what Christ calls us to do. Faithfulness brings us joyfulness. Let's dive into the parable now and look at verse 14, chapter 25 in Matthew and verse 14. And it says again, it will be like a man going on a journey. Why does it say again? Remember, it goes back to the previous parable. This is all one idea of Jesus answering the disciples of when is the kingdom of God going to come. It says again, the kingdom of God, will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted them to his wealth. To one he gave 5 talents, and the other 2 talents, and the other 1 talent, each according to his own ability. Now, before we get into some of the nitty-gritty of what this passage is talking about, let me first admit that there is a lot of tricky things going on in this passage that are debated by a lot of different people. Me and my friend, as we were studying this passage, this was our project at the end of last semester, and we have all these commentaries open and we're looking at them, and we're like, none of these things say anything. They don't agree with each other. So there is a lot of different opinions on what this passage is talking about. And then so we had the great idea that we would email 3 of our Bible professors and see what they said, because, they all teach at the same college, so of course they must have the same idea of what's going on. Of course, we got back 3 totally different responses of what this passage means and is talking about. But in all of that digging, amidst all of the sea of interpretations that was going on in this passage, there was one key thread, there was one key idea that ran through them all, and that is this idea that faithfulness brings joyfulness.